Josh Norman voiced his opinion on his former team's defensive struggles of late, specifically Julio Jones' record-setting day against the Panthers, 12 catches for 300 yards. Norman telling our Vaughn McClure, shoot, just disrespectful to line up a rook against that man like that, like he's not the top wide receiver in the league. Damian, is it time for Josh Norman to stop talking about the Carolina Panthers?
Absolutely. It's like saying, why are you worried about what's going on in another man's house? You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing for me. You've already won. You've already won. You are a fifth-round pick that basically you're self-made, built yourself up into one of the top, one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the National Football League. They decide to let you go. You're now the highest paid cornerback in the league, and you're concerned about the Carolina Panthers and what's going on over there? Like, to me, that makes no sense. It just reeks to me of a guy that just wants some attention, wants to kind of talk about what happened with Carolina and Julio Jones. Hey, I told you so. So what? You need to be concerned about what's going on in Washington and that secondary in Washington. That's what you really need to be concerned about. Because, listen, Carolina as an organization, particularly on defense, they've never paid anybody in their secondary. You knew that. I'm sure your representatives knew that. They poured their money in the defensive front. So the fact that you moved on to Washington, got paid, got your money, again, I ask, what possible reason do you have for talking about another man's house? Doesn't make any sense.
I have an answer for that. I have an answer for that, because I love this. I actually love this. And you're talking from the point of view of a player and a team player and a guy who's trying to win football games. But I'm just talking about from maybe it's more of a fan's point of view or maybe a human point of view. Josh Norman built himself from 5th-round pick to elite defensive player on his competitiveness. This dude is just next-level competitive. So however he's rationally knows in his rational brain, they're not going to pay me like that, whatever. What he's telling himself is, oh, they think it's just their system. They think I'm a system corner. They don't think I'm a cover guy. They don't think I'm worth the money. I'm going to show them. That's what it's all about. Now, when can you talk? When your team wins. The team just won a couple of games. And when the team that got rid of you just lost. And when they got burnt by an elite receiver that you put a guy on who's cheap because they didn't want to pay you. That's when you talk. Here's the downside. You talk in good times, that's all right. There will be bad times. The Panthers are going to be good at times. And I think they're a better team than Washington. And you will get burnt at times trying to cover guys. And that's when you're going to get criticized. And that's why I hate him because he's on Washington, I'm a Giants fan. But that's why I love Josh Norman, the player, because he's willing to put himself out there, knowing what the consequences are, knowing just like when, even though he's not really a cover corner who's just going to shadow a guy all day and everything, but knowing that even though that's not his job, he will still get blamed. When someone catches a touchdown pass and he's in the frame on your TV screen, oh, look, they caught it on Josh Norman. Knowing that, he'll still talk smack going into that game, knowing that the Panthers are going to win and that the Washington's going to lose, and there'll be weeks where they point the finger back at him. He's still willing to do it. He's willing to take that heat because he believes in himself. I love a guy like that.
Listen, for him, he's just building up his reputation on TV. I get it. Okay, I guess it's part of this new wave of, professional athletes. They just want to brand themselves. But again, so you're gonna go talk smack about some rookies who are just going up against Julio Jones, who's just getting their feet wet. Like you haven't been toasted before. In particular, like in practice with Deshaun Jackson toasting you in practice. I mean, to go out there and just to keep talking about the Carolina Panthers, bro, that makes you look silly. You're paid. You have the reputation. You're an all-pro type player. Again, I'm gonna ask you, Max, why in the world should he be concerned with the Carolina Panthers? They took it on the chin. Yeah, they took it on the chin by the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons is balling right now. But again, Washington, he needs to be concerned about what the Redskins are doing as opposed to what some rookies in the Carolina Panthers secondary, what they're doing.
He uses every little piece of motivation he can get. Now, I'm surprised at you, Damian.
I don't get into all these, I'm going to use this for a motivational ploy. Listen, the fact that I'm stepping on the field and I'm getting challenged by the guy across from me, that's enough motivation in and of itself. Why do I need to be motivated by, the Carolina Panthers, they released me, or, some rookie got toasted by Julio Jones? Who cares?
I remember in 1998, the Yankees had won 125 games and the World Series, and Derek Jeter was the biggest star in the world. I remember Jeter, who never stepped in it, right? Never said anything, saying after the season at one point, they say we couldn't do it. And I thought, who said that? Everyone thought that you were going to win since you traded for Knobloch in the offseason. Everyone thought you were going to win 125 games. Who are these people who said you couldn't do it? When the actual opponent isn't there, the super competitive athletes have to invent them. Josh Norman actually has an opponent here. It's the Carolina Panthers. And everything he says is actually not directed at the rookie corner. He's actually giving him a pass. Look, you can't cover Julio Jones with a rookie corner. You can't cover him one-on-one. He's actually complimenting Julio Jones. Everything he says is directed at the Carolina Panthers' brains. He's saying, that was stupid to let me go. You're the team that didn't want to pay me. That was dumb. That was a mistake. And everything all the evidence he gives points to that.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who brains do you trust more? The Carolina Brain Trust, who just came off a Super Bowl, or the Washington Redskins, who haven't done squat in I don't know how long? Who brains do you really trust now?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. I'm
Carolina.
No, I'm
Carolina.
Right.
I'm talking about from his point of view.
So this nonsense that you're talking about, I'm putting my faith in the Carolina Panthers. I don't know about this nonsense you're talking about. The bottom line here, matter of fact point is this. You need to be worried about the Washington Redskins, that secondary, because to me, the Washington defense, what have they done? What has he done in that Washington defense? Listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we're going to be able to line all this up. And we're going to see where the Carolina Panthers are, and we're going to see where the Washington Redskins...
I'll put my money on Carolina.
Of course.
I'll put my money on Carolina,
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But we're talking about from the player's point of view, and you hit on it earlier. He has a media career now. I mean, that's one of the things about Washington, and I think Dan Snyder's a bad owner. I think that's a bad franchise, and they make signings like this. A guy who's not a cover guy, now they want to turn him into a cover guy, and they overpay him and all that kind of stuff. They did the same thing with, it was Hainsworth. I mean, they put guys in bad positions that they overpay after good seasons. It's not the way the NFL generally works. But one of the things about Josh Norman is he comes in and doesn't tell him, and now he has a TV show, and that became a news cycle. We discussed it on this show. He has opinions. He knows how to make waves. Here we are talking about. He has a career in broadcasting, and he's also looking out for that. Absolutely.
I have a question for you, Max. Obviously, everyone knows that Carolina potentially made a mistake in letting Josh Norman go, but do you think it's more impactful when he lets other people say that than he actually goes out and says it?
Of course it looks better if he doesn't say it. But first of all, that's not his brand. And secondly, as I just said, Muhammad Ali talked more smack than anyone who ever lived. And one of the reasons that we still remember him and talk about is not just his stance on Vietnam and the fact that he beat Foreman and Frazier and enlisted in these guys. It's that he said he was going to do it, told you how he was going to do it, and then went out and did it. Now, I'm not saying Norman's Muhammad Ali. And I don't know if he can back up all the talk, though. He's done a pretty good job so far. Not one-on-one. He can't cover Odell and Julio Jones one-on-one. No one can. And particularly not him. But has he been an excellent defensive player? Yeah. And the fact is, there's at least a correlation right now. I don't think it's causal. I don't think it's the reason. But he left Carolina, and they are now 1-3 and looking bad and just got burnt by an elite wideout. I mean, if you're going to say something, now's the time, and he said it.
No question.
I hope it holds up. Listen, after a Super Bowl, most teams have hiccups after the Super Bowl, in particular a team that loses. So I just want to see how this whole thing plays out, because right now you're yapping. You're doing a lot of talking right now off of one game. Mm-hmm. Man, don't let me see you getting roasted out there, because you better believe
he knows. He knows. And he knows that he's willing to take it. He's willing to take the heat.
There was a great piece last night. I don't know if you guys saw it on E60. Lisa Selters did a whole interview with Josh Norman, his brother. It's really interesting. His whole journey, though, coming from the 5th round, what he did and everything he overcame. Definitely check that out. Stephen A. will be with us shortly, but coming up next. So as we approach Week 5 in the NFL, Westgate Las Vegas Superbook has ranked the NFL teams with the best Pro Football Championship odds, and no surprise, the dynasty that is New England has the best odds to win it all at 4-1, followed by Green Bay at 6-1, Seattle 7-1, Denver 8-1, and then Minnesota at 9-1. Max, I want to start with you here. Should New England be favored to win it all in Vegas?
The answer is no. But first I want to explain what odds are really quickly. The betting line that Vegas sets they're just trying to get equal action on both sides of the line, right? And then if there's more action on one side, the line moves. So those odds can change. But they're just trying to predict what the crowd is going to say. And if you read James Sirowicki's book, The Wisdom of Crowds, it explains why the line is so hard to beat. Because the crowd makes really good predictions. Everyone's wisdom put together, which is basically what a betting line is, will over time do better in terms of predicting things than the smartest member of the crowd. Think about that for a second. The dumb people actually make the crowd even smarter than the smartest person. It's weird that way. So the betting line says the Patriots, and that makes sense because most seasons in most sports we know who's going to be in the mix. The Spurs, not this year because of Kevin Durant, but most years the Spurs will be in the mix. If you set the Spurs, among the favorites, that's going to happen. Alabama, every year. And the Patriots fall into that category, obviously. Every year, you want to sound pretty smart, pick the Patriots. They're going to be right in the mix. But how far do they get into that mix usually? Well, in recent years, that depends on the health of Gronk. Gronkowski's health determines that. Because Tom Brady, who, as I said, has at most a season and a half left. He could fall off the cliff any minute, given his age, is what happens in the NFL. But Tom Brady's greatness in recent years is his lightning-quick ability to read defenses and make great decisions with the ball. He reads things so quickly and makes such great decisions that they're always a playoff team. But when they advance in the playoffs, when they threaten to win a Super Bowl, is when he has a guy in Gronkowski that allows him to be less than perfect. Just chuck it in his direction. He'll come down with it. And when Gronk is on the field, the Patriots absolutely are among the maybe two favorites in the AFC. But when he's not, they're not. They're just not. And it's really early, and Gronk has already had health concerns this year, and given Brady's age and Gronk's health pattern, I don't think you can put them ahead of the Denver Broncos, who just won the Super Bowl last year, beat the Patriots in the playoffs, with Gronkowski, by the way, and has since then looked better. Their offense looks better. Their defense looks as good as ever. I wouldn't put them ahead of the Broncos, and that's just in the AFC, Damian.
Oh, Max, let me break this down to you. And here's why I believe the Patriots should be favored. When you go back, first of all, let's start with this year. Let's start with this year alone. Here we are at the quartermark, New England 3-1 without Tom Brady. With Tom being suspended, what the Patriots were able to do, they were able to identify things that they could work on to become an even better team. You know what they've done? They've become an even better rushing team. Another thing that people don't talk about is their defense. They've always had an underrated defense. They got boatloads of talent on the defensive side of the football. They got their old offensive line coach back, Dante Scarnecchia, which has been a problem for the New England Patriots the past couple of years, the play up front. So when you combine all those things and the fact that they haven't really had to play Gronk because they've been doing so well. So all this time, Gronk has just been getting healthy. Now you enter into the equation Tom Brady, who we know is going to come play with it like his hair is on fire. Why in the world would you favor a matchup between Tom Brady and Trevor Siemian? Who would you favor in that matchup?
If independently, independently, if the question is Tom Brady better than Trevor Siemian? The answer is yes. Even when he's hurt, he's better than Trevor Siemian.
And to me, the Patriots...
But they're not playing each other.
The Patriots are a better team this year than they were last year. I don't know...
Because they got Bennett at tight end?
No, because of the things I just said. So you're not listening to me right now?
Listen, the Patriots...
They have more balance offensively, and they're going to be even better when Tom Brady comes back. Gronk is going to come back. He's going to come back fresh. He's going to come back even healthier. Add him with Martellus Bennett and all the weapons that they had on offense.
They got some good linebackers. They haven't even all been healthy yet. All that is true.
Right.
All that's true.
So for me, I'm not going to say that the Denver Broncos are better than the New England Patriots when the Patriots 3-1 playing with second and third string quarterbacks out there. You got the best head coach in NFL history in Bill Belichick. This team is markedly better than they were last year. Listen, when it comes to the Patriots, when it comes to the Patriots, it's like Tiger Woods, back in the day, Tiger Woods in the field. I'm always going to go with Tiger, and in this case, I'm going to go with the Patriots right now, better than the field.
Yeah, except that they played each other in the playoffs last year, and the Broncos won.
I just said the Patriots are better than last year.
And they had Gronk. You're assuming Gronk will be there. You're forgetting about the fact that LeGarrette Blount is 30 years old.
And playing out of his mind right now.
He is, but let's see what it is. What a 30-year-old running back is at the end of the season and in the postseason. You're assuming Gronk will be there, and you're assuming that the Broncos haven't gotten any better. Have the Broncos gotten better? Have the Broncos gotten better?
I would say offensively they're probably a little bit better. But since we're on this whole assumption thing that you're on, so we're assuming that
I'm not assuming. You
said, oh, we assume that Gronk is going to be this.
Assumption.
We're assuming that LeGarrette Blount's going. So can we also say it on the same side with the Denver Broncos? Listen, I know what it's like to play as a Super Bowl champion the year after when every team brings their A game. That is mentally taxing. It wears on you as the season goes along. I don't know what the Denver Broncos are going to look like at the end of the season after playing a 16-game slate where every team is up because they're playing a Super Bowl champion. I don't know. What I do know is I know the Patriots are a much better team than last year. That's why I'm going to favor the
So far,
Patriots.
they've taken out Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, and Andy Dalton. We're not even in week 5 yet.
Wait a minute. Are we really talking about the Colts, Andrew Luck? I mean, yeah, okay, the Luck guy has name brand, but
he's a great
come on, man,
quarterback.
the Colts are trash, man. Let's be real.
Well, see, the rest of the team is, but Andrew Luck ain't.
Okay.
And by the way,
last time I checked, it's a team sport.
Those are three. One of the reasons people are down on the Panthers is the 1-3 record instead of the 2-2 record. One of the reasons they lost is because week 1, when they were flying high and everything, they had to go to Denver and play the Super Bowl champions. All I know is that the reigning Super Bowl champions who just beat the Patriots in the last postseason that was played are now undefeated and looking better than ever, but somehow the Patriots have leapfrogged them. And that's just the AFC, by the way.
Okay.
How about the Minnesota Vikings? How are they looking so far?
Minnesota's looking well.
Yeah,
they're looking good.
A little bit of
I'm not taking the Minnesota Vikings over the New England Patriots.
How about the Seattle Seahawks?
They're like a novice. The Minnesota Vikings are like a novice right now. They're just starting to find their way as far as being a good team. They were good last year. They're getting better, but we're going to put them in the same.
They were finding their way last year.
They found their way last year.
So now they're taking the next step. They're
taking the next step. But I'm not. Are you ready to put them in the class of the New England Patriots?
At this point, based on what I've seen so far.
Come on.
Come on,
It's New England versus everybody. Come on, Max. It's New England and everyone else.
New England and everyone else?
Yes.
By the way, the Seattle Seahawks in recent years been just as successful as the New England Patriots. And we're going to talk about it later in the show. Pete Carroll's there saying this is the best team he's ever coached. You're going to write off the Seahawks?
Hold on. Listen, I'm not writing off anybody. I'm just making my case as to why I feel the Patriots should be the favorites going
Basically, what everyone's argument on the Patriots was, and it was mine too, until I saw what the Broncos, the Broncos after a certain time would say, okay, I got to back off that, is that, look at them. They're 3-1 even without Tom Brady. Just imagine, we're projecting forward and imagining what they're going to be with Tom Brady, and therefore we're giving them the credit that they have not yet earned this season and leapfrogging them over another team that has earned that credit this season and last.
And here's what we got to go to break, guys. Say your last. You have a quick last point?
I want to say this about Denver Broncos and Trevor Siemian. We're at the quarter mark. Everyone has tendencies.
Yep.
Let's see how he adjusts now.
I love fired up Max. I don't think Stephen A gets him quite as fired up as you do, Damien Wood, but Stephen A will be here with us the next block. Damien also sticking around. We're having fun.